This is years after the park closed. All of a sudden, I just get this package at my house, and it's like weighs a ton, and I open it up. This is the drain cover from the keyhole at Del Mar. A lot of wheels have gone across this drain of a lot of amazing skateboarders. But yeah, it just showed up in the mail with no return address, no name on it, no note, just mystery. Here's Del Mar drain cover.
It was the hangout spot. I've always called it. It was kind of the clubhouse.
From 78 till 87, I literally spent all day, every day there.
Tony became the best skateboarder in the world at Del Mar. There were some heavy sessions there.
Fans were going crazy. It was like the Coliseum.
It became some proving ground where it was really Tony and Christian going at each other.
That was when skateboarding was dead, so everybody there was a skateboarder, 100%.
And you have 7 years of your life at that place, there's a lot of stories.
How about Billy? You people let him know you're out there.
To me, that was one of the best places for a contest. There were only 4 photographers back then, so I could shoot all the best dudes.
The Del Mar contest became a focal point of competition in general, so people would travel from all over, from Texas, from Florida, even from Europe, to come skate in them or to come watch them.
Those were the best contests I've ever been to, were those contests at Del Mar, because they'd put the bleachers next to the reservoir, and bleachers on our side, and bleachers up here, and it would be packed.
The crowds at the Del Mar events were super enthusiastic because all of them were skaters themselves, and they were right there on the bull. I mean, they were literally like 3 feet from where you're riding.
And it was all competition back then. I mean, we're starting at 9 in the morning and like going all day, 45-second runs, you know, head-to-head, double elimination. You go into the loser's bracket, then you gotta fight your way back up. That's high energy.
If there was a Del Mar contest, everybody from San Jose and San Francisco drove down.
NorCal, SoCal. Yes, there was a vibe.
At the time, Tony was winning absolutely everything. There was a lot of people that kind of thought he shouldn't.
There was definitely a battle between them, and they were 2 different skateboarders, so they were both equally as insanely good.
Holmes was like style and going high, and Birdman had every trick in the book.
Kind of didn't care which one of them won, but it was so awesome to watch how rad they rode by pushing each other.
If it was head-to-head, you could feel it. You know, it was pulsating.
It made the hairs on your back stand up, and you were just like, "Aah!"
Christian and I were usually on top of the standings, you know, 1 and 2, and flip-flopping quite a bit. It became weird because suddenly it became this sort of NorCal, SoCal rivalry. And he somehow represented NorCal, even though he was from LA. But I think it's because of his affiliation with Indy.
I was like adopted into the whole Thrasher family, independent family. All the hardcore, you know, raging, partying, you know, punk rockers were all Indian Thrasher. Then you got down south, Tracker, Transworld guys, and they were clean, they were surfers, they were mellow, they were all about skateboarding. Back then, we were headstrong at saying, you know what, no, this is the way. You know what I mean? That isn't the way, you know what I mean? We're it, they're not it, you know? And so you got this great head-on collision of cultures inside of a culture. And that spoke to the fans. The fans were like, I'm totally on this side. No, I'm totally on that side.
I remember that specific incident of that contest where Tony dropped in, they started screaming boo, and I heard a couple people even spit on him or something like that.
When they were booing Tony, it It was so weird because it was like, I don't think it was like a healthy competitive thing. You know, you always rooted for certain people, but in the end, we're all friends, you know, and it was kind of weird.
The fans were going crazy. They're like throwing stuff in the bowl. Then there's all these thrasher guys from up north there. They're booing him. And his fans are booing me.
The Southern California people weren't really into a rivalry, but decided to side with me because they didn't like that people were booing me when I would skate. So I had support by default.
Because Tony was like the tracker dude. I mean, you know, if there was a tracker dude, like, yeah, it was Tony Hawk. And Christian Hosoi was the indie guy. They never had anything against each other, Christian and Tony, but like it was in the magazines or just made up, like just between ads. Like, yeah, tracker versus indie, like that's what you had. Jeff Phillips rode trackers. Like, did anybody even mess with him? Hell no. It was just Tony, like, because Tony was more the littler guy down here, and like he was, you know, he would never hurt a fly, and I don't know, people got picked on for who they were, whatever.
Maybe some people took it a little too seriously, you know, but it was just the spirit of competition, you know, like I felt like the guys up north, you know, were friends, and I'm still friends with them today. And
you know, we didn't hate each other ever. You know, we actually didn't mind skating together and traveling together and competing together. We even, you know, talked to each other when we skated.
93-0-0-0, Tony Hawk is the winner!
Skateboarding is like a huge family. Like, everybody was friends. There was no like, oh man, I'm gonna get that guy next time, whatever. You know, it was not like that. Like, we were all buddies and everybody was just happy on who won during that day. Like, that's really, everybody was for each other.
There were 30 skaters back then that competed. You knew everybody, and you knew their friends, which was funny. You knew their little entourage and their posse. You know, skateboarding was small back then. I liked it.
skateboarding at that time, through the 80s, was just tiny, you know, like globally. When you met skateboarders, that connection was always there.
That was when skateboarding was dead, so everybody there was a fucking skateboarder, 100%, you know.
There's some energy like that in skateboarding, but it was built around such a small industry then that you had to know about it. Now you could go and YouTube everything, you could Google anything, and you could be right there, 4 feet from the lip of anything. Back then, if you weren't there, you weren't there. You had to wait 2 months down the road to see pictures in the mag, and you can't even hear it. You could only imagine what it would sound like, and then you'd hear the story and you'd go, man, I wish I was there, you know?
We were the audience. That's what's cool about it. It's like everyone that was anyone was there. That was real. Like, that's all of skateboarding in that place. You can't even have that today. Everyone that knew anything about it in there. And people that weren't there couldn't care what we're talking about, but people who were there were like, that's everything.
I never thought Del Mar was doomed. The way it was closing and then reopening, I just thought it would keep doing that over the years.
The legalities of the park were just getting too much, and I guess it wasn't profitable, and the owners were saying they're going to tear it down, and the word spread, and it was like, tomorrow's the last day. This is it. It really is over. I know we've been talking about it, but it will close tomorrow. You better go.
That day and the night before, there was just big sessions. Everyone knew it was closing the next day. Then the next morning, me, Dave Swift, and Todd Swank were there.
I went there, and Bruno Herzog, he was probably the last one to skate the park. They're bulldozing the half pipe. He just went. And then cops came, and that was basically it. It was over. The park just dozed.
They caved everything in, broke all the flat bottom up, just basically destroyed it.
I called Swank, and he goes, they bulldozed Del Mar today. It was like a sinking feeling, you know? It's gnarly. It's like if they bulldoze, you know, your family home or something. A year, 2 years ago, there was rumors that somebody was going to dig it up and reopen it, and we saw it jackhammered. It was gone.
That was it. That was the end of it. That was the end of my life, basically. You know, like, as far as I knew it, you know, and that connection of all those people that would meet there on a regular basis totally just got blown out of the water.
Any time of the day, any day of the week, you could go there and your friends are all there. The park was way more than just a skate park.
They were there from the time it opened in the morning till the time it closed. Parents would just drop off their kids because they knew it was a safe place to be.
Suddenly my community, the people that I used to see all the time, that I would rely on, that I would like to share things with, were gone.
Yeah, we were devastated. There was nothing else to ride. So Del Mar was like kind of the last. Del Mar and Upland were the last two. So we had nothing, you know?
And the stories that I hear people tell today, I mean, I'm just humbled, I'm grateful, and I'm so thankful just to be alive to hear them, you know? Just to be able to have a piece of Del Mar, because I wasn't from there, straight up honor.
Yeah, I mean, just flashes of whatever, you know, like, I think I kissed my first girl there and drank my first beer there, you know, and I don't know, it was just being there all the time, like just skating like all day long, and then hanging out into the night, and it was just Del Mar.
Towards the end, there was a manager named Mike, and we all called him Mike Knott. He got hired to be the manager of the whole skate park. Immediately, the dude was just a dick to everybody. You know, the locals, we kind of ran that place. And one day, he was mopping the floor, you know, because it was raining. We were just in the pro shop, you know, playing video games and stuff. And he's cleaning it up because there's mud. He was moaning and cleaning. You guys are always fucking this place, or, you know, getting this place dirty and doing all this and that. And, you know, I hate you guys. And you're just kind of going off. And it was me and Dan Sturt. And we're like, whoa, what? So we're like, man, this guy's going to get it. We went in the bathroom with a plastic, like, shopping bag and dropped turds in a bag. So we had a bag with turds. And waited until the dude kind of left. You know, he went to go down to the golf shop to do something. And we just emptied the turds out of the floor he just mopped. And then jammed. Or we were still in the pro shop, kind of far enough away to where we could just watch him come in and go, what the hell? Just freaking out. Of course, who wouldn't freak out on human turds in a pro shop? But that was a fond memory. And that's a non-skate memory. There's more shit. I can go on.